Greetings, welcome back. This is Queen Elle of QueenElle79. I'm so glad that you've joined me this evening. As the title states for this video, I have switched things up a bit with my astrological message for the month of July. I am doing an elemental type of message for July. I'm dividing the elements of the zodiac signs, and we'll do a fire sign video, earth sign, water sign, and air sign. So as the title states, this one is for the water signs. Now the water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. So this is regarding your sun, moon, or rising sign. Now the sun sign is the universally recognized zodiac sign. It's the one that's most widely used. When someone says my sign is this, they're typically referring to their sun sign, and that's the placement of the sun on the day that they were born. Now, if you were to look online and view your birth or astrological natal chart, you will find, if you know the specific time when you were born, and that's accessible on your birth record, your original birth certificate as well, you will be able to identify the placement of the moon when you were born, as well as the your ascendant or rising sign. Now, I will do a future video that dives into what all of that means. However, because the placement could be different, you're not typically going, if you're a Pisces, you're not going to have a Pisces sun, moon, and rising. I mean, you could, but that's not really common. You'll notice that because those different placements affect something different with regard to who you are, you'll notice that it's important to view messages or hear messages that have to do with whatever sign your moon and your rising are as well. So this is specific to the water signs who have a sun, moon, or rising of Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. Okay, so we'll dive right in. Now, I have my Yerba Santa blowing right now, as well as one of my intention candles. So if you haven't checked out my Etsy shop, please feel free to do so. I will provide a link to that website in the description box, and I sell all natural intention candles as well as all natural body products as well. So I'd be so happy and so thankful if you were to view my shop, and if you feel so inclined to make a purchase and provide your support, I would really be thankful for that. So thank you in advance. Now, this candle is one of my intention candles. It's also an aromatherapy candle. This candle is all about clearing your space, clearing your mind, and releasing any unwanted or negative energy. It has a scent of lavender and frankincense and myrrh. And also I can't show you because it's lit, there are herbs on and within the candle that have properties of releasing or clearing unwanted or negative energy. Okay, so that's the candle that I have burning, and it is available on my website. Now let's dive in. So there are several things that are taking place, several planetary transits and aspects that are taking place in the month of July, and the ones that will affect the water sign specifically. So early in the month of July, your creativity and your innovation is aligned directly with your purpose. I know that we are 15 days past Juneteenth right now. This message that I'm recording is on the evening of July 4th. And so with that being said, at the beginning of this month, Sun was conjunct Mercury in Cancer. Now, Mercury is all about your interaction with other people, but the Sun is all about your purpose. So just know that your purpose is directly aligned with your intuition, okay, and your innovation. So keep that in mind right now. Keep that energy going. Tap into that energy, okay? Tap into your intuition. And I'm looking at my planner. I'm always looking down at my notes just to keep me on track. Now, Also, we have the Sun in Cancer again, sextile Uranus in Taurus. Now, a sextile relationship, like I said, it's all about it's a positive working relationship, and as long as you are willing to work with that energy that you're directly impacted by, it will be a positive working relationship. Okay, so that's something that has to do with inspiration. Taurus, that's all about your creativity as well. So it's important to tap into that inspirational energy that you feel. If you feel inspired to do something creative, to be innovative, then do so. Okay. Now, I did mention with today being July 4th, we have a full moon tonight. So overnight, depending on your time zone, from July 4th into July 5th, there is a full moon as well as a penumbral lunar eclipse. Now, if you haven't checked out my video from the month of June, we had in the early part of June another penumbral lunar eclipse. Feel free to check out that video where I give a description of what that means. Essentially, a lunar eclipse means that Earth goes between the moon and the sun, and the Earth's shadow kind of, you know how the moon is illuminated by the sun, the light from the sun. And I'm sorry if you hear anything in the background. I have a child watching something in the other room. But Earth, when there's a lunar eclipse, Earth goes between the sun and the moon, and the shadow from the Earth, it's not a full or total lunar eclipse, but being a penumbral lunar eclipse, there is part of Earth's shadow is you'll be seeing it reflected on the surface of the moon. It won't reflect on the total surface. It will just look like the moon has a hint of a shadow instead of being a bright full moon. And I'm not sure if you noticed, but because this is another super moon as well, and I believe it may be one of the last that we have this calendar year, but even though the full moon is officially tonight, in the past couple of days, I noticed that the moon was very high in the sky. I live in the United States in the Midwest, very high in the sky, very bright. It looked to the naked eye like it was a full moon, even though I knew that the full moon was taking place tonight. It was just very interesting leading up to tonight. So I'm really looking forward in the upcoming hours to see what that looks like for us. There are a lot of factors depending on if it's a clear sky where you are, depending on your location, because more people in the southern hemisphere will be able to view the penumbral lunar eclipse in all its glory. Because another thing is there will be kind of like a ring of light that you'll see. I mean, it's a lot. So you'll see it, but again, it depends on where you are. So um, if you're not in the southern hemisphere, you won't really see the full effect of it. But yeah, so you'll see something though. So I would say if don't be disappointed if the moon just looks like normal. It should look a little dimmer compared to how a typical full moon is. I will say that the power of it is still the same, being a full moon. So tap into that full moon energy. Tap into some shadow work if we all could use some shadow work. So tap into that energy. And with regard to the water signs, though, so tap into that creativity, that innovation. As we move into more of the middle of the month, just note that there will be some, I don't like to say positive or negative, there will just be some energy where you feel the need to focus more on self than normal. One could call it selfishness. I will say that specifically because the sun in Cancer will be in opposition of Pluto and Capricorn, and Pluto is one of the ruling planets of some of the water signs. So it's important to know that because that opposition relationship is a conflict. So just know that your purpose will be in direct conflict with Pluto and Capricorn. Now, the one thing to keep in mind, we do have several retrogrades going on right now. So that has a lot to do with it. You'll be met with some resistance. If you feel the need to take a moment for self, if you're someone who is always being, the martyr in a situation and always putting yourself last. Sometimes we need to be a bit selfish. It's not always a negative thing. Sometimes we just need to, do for ourselves, and you need to practice that self-care anyway. Tonight is a perfect night for doing that, to have a spiritual bath, spiritual shower, to go through your home and smudge your home, clear any unwanted energy. Make sure you always have a window open, at least one door open as you're doing so. Say some affirmations as you're going through your home with regard to releasing that energy. Do some cleaning in your home, not just the typical cleaning, but some additional cleaning just to clear, like I said, that unwanted energy, because it's very symbolic when you're doing that. And this is all practicing self-care. Do some meditation, do some yoga, um, just drink your water. That's something that's so simple that anyone can and should do, but it's so good for yourself. It has the physical aspect of clearing out any toxins and also hydrating your body, of course, first and foremost, but it also has the metaphoric aspect of cleansing and washing away anything that's unwanted out of your system, okay? Drawing out those toxins, okay? So tap into that energy. Now, that's the 15th. I will tell you though that as we get further into the month, when we get closer to the 20th of the month, we have the new moon in Cancer, and that will be conjunct with the sun. And that conjunct relationship, it's a positive relationship. It's so beneficial. It's a direct relationship where they are directly aligning with each other. Okay. Now this one, it means your purpose is aligned. So the new moon, that's that new innovative energy. You know how I said the beginning of the month is all about that innovation. It's all about your purpose being aligned with innovation and with your intuition and tapping into that energy. Well, the new moon being conjunct with the sun, that means that your purpose is directly aligned with that new moon energy, which is all about setting your intentions and starting anew, as it sounds, to start any sort of new creative endeavor. The good thing about the 20th is, so Mercury has been in retrograde for the past several weeks. And during Mercury retrograde, since Mercury is all about our communication and our interaction with others, it's important during Mercury retrograde to not enter into any type of contractual relationship with anyone, to form any type of binding alignment with anyone, because there may be some type of issue with regard to that further down the line. So it's important not to do that type of thing during Mercury retrograde. The good thing is Mercury retrograde it lasts about 6 weeks. So and we have several off and on this year, but this one it lasts 6 weeks. So once we're past that point, which will be July 12th, when Mercury will go direct in Cancer, then you can move full steam ahead. So this is the time to lay the foundation for any type of new endeavors that you want to tap into. But like I said, with the 20th being all about your purpose being aligned with that new moon energy, the time will be great. The time will be ripe for you to go full steam ahead with whatever you have set in place, okay? Now then, as we get closer to the end of the month, we have some square type of interactions. Now, I will say I will mention them, but they won't necessarily affect the water signs directly, okay? So we have Venus and Gemini, square Neptune and Pisces on the 27th. That's a bit of a disappointment or disillusionment with love, with our the things that we enjoy. So it's important to just be mindful of that coming down the pike, okay? And then also on the 27th, we have Mercury in Cancer, square Mars in Aries. Now, Mars has to do with it has to do with how we see ourselves, and Mercury, again, having to do with our communication. So just know that there may be some type of negative energy as far as um, some finger pointing, some blaming of some sort. And so I'm not sure if it has to do with, and I'll ask the question when I'm pulling cards, if it has to do with your financial endeavors, if it has to do with relationships. That's at the tail end of the month, but it's important to just be mindful of it, be conscious of it and aware, knowing that it will take place, that there's something that you could be presented with at the end of the month, so that when it happens, you see it for what it is, and you're like, you know what? okay, universe, like I know what's going on. I knew this was coming. And then that will put it into perspective so that you don't necessarily take it as personally as you would like to, okay? So those are all of the aspects that are taking place this month of July. Let me take a sip of my smoothie really quickly. Okay. Now, I just want to go ahead and pull some cards, see what extra layer the spirit guides have for us, an additional message to add to the message that they just gave me to give to you. I'm using my Modern Witch Tarot deck. If you have not checked out my unboxing for this one, it's a few months back, but please definitely check out that video where I go into a bit more in depth with some of the cards that I like. It's a deck that's all about diversity, so definitely feel free to check that out. Now, spirit guides, what message do you have for our water signs? That's Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising. For the month of July, what message do you have for us? Ooh, ooh, ooh. The whole deck jumped out. Okay, let's say it to me in my little hands again. I have to turn the cards a bit with my shuffling. I've already shuffled these, but when spirit leads me to, I like to just give a bit more of a shuffle. Okay. All right. Let's cut these cards. Water signs, Sun, Moon, Rising. What message do you have for the water signs? Okay, we have 10 of Wands. We have the World card. We have the Knight of Pentacles. We have the Star. Okay, I'm being told to stop. So, 10 of Wands. Now, depending on your placement for Sun, Moon, and Rising, I actually had this card just come up in one of the other elemental videos for July. It was for the fire signs. It was actually the first card for that group as well. So if you have Sun, Moon, or Rising in the fire sign and you've seen that video, it's not deja vu. This card actually is coming up again. And I shuffle the deck profusely. Not too much. I just go with what I feel led to do. But yeah, so this is relevant for the water signs as well. Now, the 10 of Wands. So the wand energy, it's all about your ideas. It's all about your creativity. And it's important to note that when we want to tap into a lot of different ideas, a lot of different endeavors that we want to, spread ourselves out, it's important not to spread yourself too thin. It's important not to overwhelm yourself or overtax yourself with all these different things that you have going. You can't have a lot of fires burning at the same time. You will wear yourself out. So the message that I'm getting here with the 10 of Wands is just that as you tap into that creative energy and you start to express yourself creatively, as you start thinking about and exploring that new endeavor and start moving full steam ahead with it, it's important not to spread yourself too thin. Okay, so that's the main thing there. Now, the World card. So the world, one thing that I like about this card, let's move it over here. One thing that I like about this card is you see the cycle, and you know how I was saying like life is cyclical. And so the world card, we have the infinity symbol. It's letting you know that, there are ebbs and flows with everything. Okay. So when you're going through different challenges, you'll have peaks and valleys, and it's just important to know that this is life, such as life, okay? And as the world turns, as that soap opera goes, it's important to know that this too shall pass. That's the word that I'm being given for you. is this too shall pass. When you're dealing with any type of conflict, you know how I mentioned how at the end of the month, there's a bit of disillusionment in love, there's a bit of conflict. It's important to note that even when you experience and you're faced with that conflict, this too shall pass. You will see the other side of it. So not to allow yourself to be so weighed down or bogged down with what's happening in the moment. And to be honest, I'm a water sign, so this is a message for me as well. But when you feel yourself becoming overwhelmed or just overburdened with any type of emotional turmoil, anything that's kind of plaguing your mind, your psyche, it's important to know that this too shall pass, okay? And that this is just kind of like a blip in time and you will get past it. You know, you will be on the other side of it soon enough. Even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment, in this moment, this too will pass. Set your intentions, set your affirmations, speak things into existence, and do the work. Do the work within. Do the work, around you as well. If you're into or have any questions with regarding any type of spiritual work or spiritual practices, feel free to ask me privately. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. You know, you're welcome to look for things online. Just be sure that you're getting your information and your guidance from a reputable source. Check their reviews, check out their credentials, and then use your own intuition to determine, and to discern if that message is right for you, if that information is valid for you. But this just means that our life is a cycle, and we experience a little bit of everything. So you won't always be on top, but you most certainly will not always be on bottom either. So just keep that in mind, okay? Now, this is the Knight of Pentacles. Now, Pentacles, that's all about our financial security and stability. It's all about a sense of power. It's all about, it could be money. Now, the Knight of Pentacles, the Knight is acting. The Knight is fully aware of what's going on with regard to your financial stability and actually in motion with regard to laying out some plans that you have set for yourself. Like I said, with those new endeavors on and after July 12th, definitely embark on that new ground, that new territory. Start that new endeavor that you're interested in. I've been hearing a lot of loved ones around me mention books that they're either writing or preparing to write. Definitely do it. Do it. Don't hold back. If you feel so inclined to actually embark on something new, this is the time. There's no time like the present to go ahead with that endeavor, okay? Now, the next thing is the Star. The Star. Now, this one is all about your light shining. You know how I said that with tonight being the full moon, it's all about actually tapping into that full moon energy, tapping into yourself, not just the self that you project to others on the outside, that's your sun sign, but your moon sign. Your moon sign is actually your hidden self. It's who you really are on the inside, not just the image that you project. And so it's important to know with the Star, you have a light that's shining for others to see. You have an aura that you're giving off, a vibe that you're giving off. And it's not just what you project or what what you intentionally put out there for the world to see. It is what is radiating from within, what we don't even have control over, but it's who we really are. And that is what illuminates. That's what makes you the star in your own life. Now, what's important to know with the Star card is the star image on this card is pouring out, giving out, their gifts, pouring their gifts out, but in a positive way. I mean, you can look at it in two different ways. So pouring out those gifts, sharing them with the world, but also kind of squandering some. And that's the pot of water that's kind of being just poured out from behind, where it's not even being used to be fruitful or to edify or educate or inform anyone. It's just being thrown away, being squandered. So it's important that as you're giving your gifts and sharing your gifts and starting those creative endeavors, it's important not to just throw your gifts away. You have gifts that you haven't even tapped into yet. Don't just do the things that make the most sense to you, or the things that other people have identified within you and said, yep, that's your thing, you should do that. Tap into what is true to you, what is your passion, and then it's important to share those gifts. Those are the gifts. When I talk about your purpose being aligned with your innovation, with your intuition, those are the actual gifts that the spirit guides, that the creator of the universe, those are the gifts that you were given to share with everyone. Not just your talents, the things that you just are especially skilled at, but your true innate gifts. And those are unique to you. So that's what the spirit guides are saying that you should tap into. Okay. So that's the message. Woo, I almost forgot. I actually have some energy cards. This is from the Energy Oracle deck. If you haven't viewed, and I'm losing a bit of light right now, so pardon the darkness, but if you have not viewed my unboxing video for the Energy Oracle deck, please feel free to check out that video so that you can learn more about this deck. And I'll just kind of slide these around a bit. I've already shuffled them, so just to add an extra layer. Not sure how many cards spirit guides will have me pull. Let me set my intentions. Spirit guides, what additional message do you have for our water signs today? That's Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. What additional message do you have for our water signs today, spirit guides? Additional message do you have today? Okay. Now, let me tell you. So we have several cards that to me are quite interesting. So I'm excited to talk about them and to tap into what my intuition is telling me, what the spirit guides are telling me to tell the water signs today. Okay. So the first card is, it's called All Tied Up. My lighting's not too good right now. Okay, there you go. So this card, it says All Tied Up. This is about being bound. It's a binding that what the spirit guides are telling me that we're putting on ourselves. So we, water signs, and I say we because I'm a sun water sign rather. This is a way of stifling ourselves. So we have a tendency, water signs, of being so emotional with regard to our interaction with others, with regard to how we handle different situations. Telling you, if you have a sun, moon, or rising water sign for the month of July, you are binding yourself, and it's time to set yourself free. It's time to relax, to loosen whatever restraints that you have put on yourself, whatever boundaries you have put on yourself. It's important to let some of those go. It's okay to have standards. It's okay to have certain, depending on how meticulous you are with regard to your schedule. A lot of people have like a stringent schedule, and it's important to note that while structure is perfectly fine, everything must happen in moderation. So definitely do not bind yourself so tight you don't allow yourself to to move with whatever's going on around you. Not necessarily move with it like in the same direction, but to adapt and to adjust. It's important to be flexible and to be able to adapt on the fly when different things happen. And when you're sitting there so rigid and so tightly wound, it's hard to give yourself the flexibility to navigate whatever situation you're dealing with. So it's important to kind of loosen up those restraints that we've put on ourselves, okay? Now, then the next card is Indecision. There's a decision ahead of you, water signs, and it's important to that may be where that selfishness comes in at the middle of the month, as far as maybe a need to be selfish in a situation when you're making a decision. And so you will reach a crossroads this month, and it's important to note that the spirit guides are there with you, but it's important to just think carefully as you get ready to make this decision. If it's regarding some type of business venture, or like I said, any type of contractual agreement, definitely do not sign anything. Do not bind yourself to anything before Mercury goes out of retrograde on July 12th. Okay. Now, after that, just think twice before you make your decision, but there will be a decision before you. Okay. Then the next card is deceit. So there's some deceit going on around us. And the next card that I pulled, so I'm an empath and also clairvoyant. When I pulled the deceit card, I instantly had a question in my mind of who is the deceit regarding? And then the next card that I pulled was community. So watch out for the circle that you have around you. There is some type of deceit. There is someone being deceptive around you. And so it's important to just to be careful, to use your intuition. Let your intuition lead you. Do not allow it to overwhelm you or make you feel paranoid about a situation, but definitely let your intuition lead you with regard to it could be the decision that you have to make. It could be regarding, like I said with the first card, you needing to release some type of constraints that you have on yourself. But definitely just be mindful there is some type of deception that's going on around you, and it's within your circle. Okay. Now the final card is walking away. So this could be turning away from things that no longer serve you, turning away or walking away from people that no longer serve you. It's important to know that it's okay to walk away. It's okay to start fresh. It's okay to start new. To not feel like you don't have any choice but to stay in the situation that you're in now. You totally can move forward and move onward to something else. Okay. So that's the message that I have for you today. I've already been quite long-winded. I don't want to keep going anymore. So I just want to thank you for joining me today. And it's been a blessing. It's been a true blessing to serve you today. Ashe. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to ask me, and I'll be happy to be of service to you. Like I said, I'll provide the link to my Etsy shop down in the description box, so please feel free to check that out. Again, thank you so much. Be blessed.